What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. So some new details have came out about the Uvalde shooting, and I got to say it's really kind of odd because this is stuff that you usually think that you'd be getting from the left side of America: cover-ups, excuses. Really anything to take the blame off of you. No accountability, no just owning your shit. And it's really kind of sickening. And it's kind of really making America question where these people's loyalty lie, and just overall what the badge means nowadays. You know, what I would say before we even get started here is if you are law enforcement and you do have some sort of contact with these guys, give them a talk. Tell them to get out there and own it. It's one thing to possibly have let a whole bunch of kids die. It's a completely different animal to do that and now try to cover it up or make it look like you didn't really do anything wrong. So there's some stuff that the media missed. For those of you who are new in here, I'm just going to kind of answer questions and super chats as we go along. But yeah, let's go ahead and start here. So this is the DPS director.
That's how long the children waited and the teachers waited in rooms 111 to be rescued.
DPS Director Steve McCraw testified that the police response in Uvalde was an abject failure, waiting for rifles that were already there, shields that had already arrived, a key they did not need, because the door to the classroom where an 18-year-old with an AR-15 was shooting children and teachers was not locked, but no one checked it.
So the door was unsecured, and we've gone back and checked in our interviews, and did anybody touch the door and try it? No one had.
So it really kind of makes you question what the motives were. If somebody comes out and says, well, we were just scared to go in there, okay, like you're a gigantic pussy, turn in your badge, get out of here. We'd be done with that. We'd be done with it at that point. I mean, obviously the families wouldn't be, they're still grieving, but there wouldn't really be much more to talk about at that point. But no, it's just this continuous cover-up that I'm going to kind of go through on how they're doing it. Check this part out.
Officers from in room 111 and 112 was the on-scene commander who decided to place the lives of officers before the lives of children. The officers had weapons, the children had none. The officers had body armor, the children had none. The officers had training, the subject had none.
So it kind of comes down to this. First off, if you're a police officer, how good are you with a gun? I mean, everybody's who's been defending the police, especially Officer Tatum. He wants to talk about tactics and all this stuff. Are you better than the average person with a gun? That's the question. You have to go into that school thinking, one, I'm going to do whatever I can to save these kids, even sacrifice myself. And two, you need to be confident in your training. If you don't have much training, sorry, that's on you. But that's not an excuse to say, oh, well, we didn't really know what we were doing. Or, we weren't sure what kind of shields these were. But that was the thing in the beginning. I don't know if y'all remember, but they were talking about how they needed precision riflemen. they needed ballistic shields. They literally said that in the interview a few days afterwards. And take a look at this picture. So this was at 11:52 a.m. They had shields. And that's when Chief Arredondo ordered them to stand down. They waited for another 58 minutes. 58 minutes. Here's another picture. It's just unreal. And the thing that people are saying, the people who are still backing the police, still trying to put this narrative out there that these police did everything that they could and that they shouldn't be, put on stage for this. You have a shield. One, so you lied about it. Two, who cares if they're rated for rifles or not? If it's not rated for a rifle, throw it in the corner, but still get the job done. Get in there. All right. Now, here is where the chief really screwed up, in my opinion. So the chief has been MIA. He was secretly sworn into city council, I think probably a week after this whole thing. And now he wants a leave of absence because I guess he's can't handle the media, whatever it is. But he did an interview with the Texas Tribune. And I'm not really sure why it wasn't publicized that much. But this is one of the things that he said in the Texas Tribune. Each time I tried a key, I was just praying. Finally, 77 minutes after the massacre began, officers were able to unlock the door and fatally shoot the gunman. Now listen to this.
And while they waited, the on-scene commander waited for a radio and rifles. Then he waited for shields. Then he waited for SWAT. Lastly, he waited for a key that was never needed.
So, this is the part where it's like, dude, you're just lying. You're just straight lying. You're slapping all of these parents who lost kids in the face. You told the Texas Tribune that you were trying keys for 77 minutes when it turns out you didn't even need a key. How do you open a door? Maybe try the knob first? Oh, it's locked. We need a key. But if it opens, you don't need a key. Pretty simple. A 4-year-old could figure that out. But here we go with this, oh man, like we couldn't do anything because the door was locked. Really? You can't shoot a door off its hinge? You don't know how to do that? It's pretty simple. You just keep shooting at it until it comes off. But that wasn't even needed. It was unlocked. But you want to go on Texas Tribune and say, I was praying that the key would work. Dude, get out of here. And then watch this. Chief Arredondo testified privately when he is allowed to testify publicly. So it's not about what happened to these kids at this point. It's not about the families who are grieving. It's not about, just the call for justice in this situation. It's about you protecting your ass.
To say to the parents who've called for your resignation.
Chief, McCraw said that you were wrong in the moment.
The man everyone wants to hear from, not wanting to be heard. Uvalde ISD Police Chief Pete Arredondo escaping through this elevator following secret closed-door testimony at a House hearing into law enforcement's response in Uvalde.
I mean, just the balls on this guy to smile. If anything, if you're too scared to go into public, you better make sure you have a straight face and not show any emotion. But oh, what is this funny to you? Is it funny that you're lying? Because all of this is going to catch up. You don't have enough people on the right side of America behind you. You have a handful of people, a handful. And there are people like Officer Tatum who literally bend over for police and will not criticize them on one thing. I don't even know how people still watch that dude. How do you watch anything else he talks about? Everything he says now is discredited by how biased he is on this. It's a total joke. So there's one more video I want to show, and it's one of the well, let me show it first and then I'll talk about it.
Selves.
It's dangerous to self-deploy.
Ava Morales' husband tried. She was a teacher. He's a Uvalde ISD officer. She told him she was shot in a phone call.
And what happened to him was he tried to move forward into the hallway. He was detained, and they took his gun away from him and escorted him off the scene.
Morales died. So did.
So, one of the Uvalde ISD officers tried to go in, not follow orders. And at the end of the day, that's what all these officers were doing. They were following Chief Arredondo's orders to not go in. But one of these officers tried. He was detained and they took his gun. And then I believe it was his wife that died. Can you imagine just the fury that guy's in right now? You run into a school trying to save people. Oh, sir. Chief Arredondo over there, the dude who forgot his radio for this shooting, the dude who looks like he can't even run 200 feet. Yeah, he said we can't go in there yet. We got to wait for a key. So we're just going to detain you and then take your gun. Here's the problem that I have with all of this. And I'm going to get to these questions in just a second. I'm not sure if that was the guy who died from the heart attack or not. All I know is that he tried to go in and save kids, and he was detained and took his gun. But here's the ultimate problem that I have. Everyone can understand mistakes. This one's pretty hard to understand, and I don't think this is a mistake. I think this is just a complete error in human judgment or cowardice. But regardless, whatever it is, what brings it to a new level, what brings me to my blood boiling, is when you majorly screw up in life and you have no accountability and you want to shove it off on other people. You listen to these people. Well, what about the teacher who left the door open? What about teachers not being armed? What about this? What about that? No. They're not wearing the badge. They didn't have the guns. They didn't have the shields. But they want to push it off on everybody else so that there is no blame for them. That's what I have a problem with. You did it or you didn't do it. Get out there. Tell the public that you betrayed your oath. Tell the public that you were too much of a pussy to go in there and get the job done. And then it's done. But you're pissing off America. This is what people like Officer Tatum, and I'm not going to make this about him, but I'm just using him as an example. This is what people like Officer Tatum don't understand. You're making it worse for the Uvalde police. You're pissing people off more because people see what they're going to see. Nobody's going to argue with what the director of DPS said. And nobody cares about your inside source or any of that stuff. The DPS director watched body cam footage. He has everything. So he knows what he's talking about. And the fact of the matter is you getting on there and say, oh, well, no, he's wrong. I have an inside source and, you know, a guy on the inside who was in the hallway. Well, did it ever imagine to you that maybe he's fucking lying to save his ass? But you want to continue to get on, and it's not just this dude. It's a few people in this arena. They want to get on here and say, "Oh no, they aren't cowards. They're people too." Yeah, they're people, but people fuck up, and it's called owning your shit. But they want to get on there and continue to push this narrative that they did everything that they could. And so, in turn, what that's doing is, one, it's giving people a terrible taste in their mouth about police. You broadening this spectrum by being completely biased. People are starting to branch out now. And it's not good. Because these Uvalde police, I don't know of another incident like this other than that one guy during that shooting who just stood outside. But he was a Lone Ranger. It wasn't 10 guys or 9 guys in a hallway. I don't know, guys. The fact that people can defend the police in this situation is it's just a joke. I mean, sure, like you may be right on like a few semantics, right? You know, the people who are defending the police, like, oh, maybe they weren't trained with the best tactics. If you're a police officer and you aren't trained by your department and you don't go out and get training, you're fucking dumb. You're going to end up being in a situation like this or something close to it. And if you're not prepared for it, you're no better than a civilian on the street who just picked up a gun. But they want to say, oh, well, the rifle or the shields may have not been rifle rated. Really? That's an argument? How is that even an argument? Let me show y'all something real quick. This is the crap that I am talking about that just fires me up. Let me see here. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Click. This is what I called it. I called it Clickbait Tatum. This was his video on the breakdown. He said, real or fake? He's actually questioning the timestamp. He's questioning the timestamp on the school surveillance cam. And then he's questioning, you know, if the photo's even real. Like, dude, like, how much are the police unions paying you? Like, did you get kidnapped by a cop and the only way he let you go is if you just praise cops no matter what they do? It's really confusing. It's nuts. It's just nuts to me. All right, let me get into some questions. Fired up again here. Didn't the police department do active shooter drills recently and let it sink eyes there using this incident to ban guns? Yeah, they did. I got a copy of their actual training manual, and it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it essentially said, I don't care if you're just one guy. You go to the threat and you eliminate it, which is, I don't even know if that should be a training. That's just human instinct. If somebody's shooting people up and you're a person who protects people, you're going to go and do that. But the other thing it said is don't tend to the wounded unless, or don't be cracking out windows and helping kids out of classrooms unless the guy is put down. That is your main priority. Eliminate the threat. But instead, and I didn't get the video of this, but during the DPS director's whole like big talk, it was like an hour and a half. He said that because they didn't have a key, Chief Arredondo ordered officers out of the hallway to do crowd control. What is this, a concert? No shit, there's a crowd. There's people's kids in the school. They're ready to run in. But no, go outside. I want a perimeter. And, if you have to taser a parent, do it. Chief Arredondo, this is more than dereliction of duty. This is legitimately almost manslaughter. If I was the DA, I would straight up charge this dude with manslaughter. Because it's that much neglect. I mean, and then you're going to go on an interview later and lie, saying that you didn't have a key when the door was unlocked? Dude, you're criminal. You are straight criminal. Appreciate you too, bud. I don't even know what that crime would be called. Somebody put negligent homicide in there. I don't know if that's an actual something that you can be charged with. But this is way more than a slap on the wrist. Oh, you can't be a part of city council anymore. Oh, you can't, be a police officer. We're way beyond that. This dude's going to resign. He's going to be off city council. I don't know if y'all saw their city council meeting. They lost it because this dude was trying to get administrative paid leave. For what? Did you lose a kid? The only thing you lost was your radio before you got to the school. It's the only thing you lost. And then you're smiling when people get you on camera. Look, here's the reality of this. And I kind of wanted to just break this down into the most basic form because, at the end of the day, there's a lot of details and minute details that you can look at in this. Absolutely incompetence. I mean, it's just straight. I can guarantee you that if you gave the parents of the kids that were outside, if the cops said, okay, you go in, gave them all of their equipment, they would have killed this guy way quicker than the police ever did. Because one of them would have probably been like, hey, my kid's in there. Let's try this door. Rocket science. Trying a doorknob. I mean, how is that an excuse? How is that an excuse? Oh, I was praying that some of these keys would work. Shut the fuck up. Pete Arredondo is criminal, period. But I just want to say this real quick. This is kind of what this boils down to, and what these police are saying. So they said that they needed a shield that you already had in the hallway and that the kids didn't. You needed a rifle that you already had in the hallway and that the kids did not have to protect themselves. You needed body armor. We don't have body armor. This is all stuff that was said in the interview. You needed body armor to go get these kids. Did the kids have body armor? You needed backup. You needed SWAT. You needed Border Patrol. While you had officers surrounding you. None of you were lone wolves in there. The kids didn't have any backup. You needed permission to save innocent lives that were being shot at by your chief, who forgot his fucking radio and who looks like he lives on donuts. And you listened to stand down because you didn't want to get fired, you didn't want to lose your paycheck. That's it. There would be no other reason why you would stand down in that situation. And the last one, that is the stupidest of all of these. You needed a key to unlock a door that was already unlocked. These are the excuses that are being handed out to the American people by police. They won't release body cam footage because they said it's embarrassing. No shit. This whole thing's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for Texas. Texas is, we all got guns. We're all ready to defend our people. America is like that, but it's Texas. This isn't California. This isn't LA. This isn't Beverly Hills. This is Texas, small town Texas. Oh, man. So y'all know that I do these these scores for the police and for the criminals on the police footage or the footage that I review. These cops get a negative 50 out of 10. Actually, make it a negative 100 because you're not just owning it now. You got guys like Officer Tatum and Mike the Cop and whoever else is sucking you guys off to just sit there and back you up. I mean, Officer Tatum blocked me from commenting on his channel. He debates random people on his Instagram. I've hit him up. I've tried to get him to debate me, but he's not going to debate anyone who has a brain. He wants to just control whatever narrative he wants to push on his crap. But people are catching on. People are like, are you serious? Like you want to build a pile of shit with the stuff that you're saying, and then you just want to lay on it and say, no, I'm going to stay up here, even though everyone down there is like, you're pretty dumb, just stop. You can stop at any time. You can own your shit. But it's a perfect example of what these police officers are doing. It's not owning your shit. It's making excuses. It's, oh, well, were the shields rifle rated? Do you wear rifle rated soft body armor? How many of your officers were wearing rifle rated soft body armor? I want to know that. If you're going to go into the ballistic shield category. Who really cares? Kids are in there with their Dora Explorer shoes on, in their Converse, in their, pink shirt they bought at Target. You have a gun. You have extra ammo. You have a taser. You have some sort of body armor. That's not an argument. These Uvalde law enforcement officials retain their position. These law enforcement officials should be terminated due to dereliction of duty. True cowardice for these law enforcement officials. Appalling. Here's the thing. I think, and I've said this before in another live, but the police officers who followed orders, you still are I don't. It's hard to say. I'm sure some of those police officers were like, "What do we do?" Um, you know, somebody should have just stood up and said, "I don't care what chief said. Let him go get his radio. We're going to go in there and handle business." So you can't, if they're following orders, you can't say, "Oh, I'll charge them." They should for sure all be fired. The whole department. Anyone that was involved in this who prolonged the killing of this guy, you're done. Chief Arredondo, though, yeah, he should be criminally tried, I think, for manslaughter. 100%. It's kind of like the way. Here's the way that I look at this. Yeah, they're hiding evidence. Here's the way I look at this. It's kind of like you going to the store, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen this before. You go to the store, you got about an hour of shopping to do for your groceries, however long it takes you, and you got your dog with you, and you decide, well, should I take him in, or the person decides, should I take him in or just leave him in the car? It's kind of like someone leaving their dog in the car for an hour on a 105 hot Texas day with the windows rolled all the way up. It's kind of like that. You know what's going on. You just don't care. Or you're negligent. Or you're just a dumbass. Or you were too lazy to just walk your dog in with you. It's that's the way that I see this situation. It's like you knew that kids were being shot, but you still stood down. There's nothing more to say. Here's one thing I wanted to talk about. Thanks, 440 PVC. Here's one thing I wanted to talk about on what I think is the best way to stop these shootings. Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely pinned down. I mean, it's sick. But here's what I think. When someone gets to that point of no return in their mind, right, and they're thinking of doing something like this. Obviously, I've never gotten to that point mentally. Most people don't. But if someone does get to that point, we offer them a grand stage to go out famous, right? Because all these media outlets are paid through viewers, right? I mean, they make money everywhere, but a lot of it is how many people watch your TV show. So when they can plaster this dude's face or be one of the first dudes to plaster this face on their TV show, they're going to have a lot more viewers. But what this does is for these people who are at a super low point, they say, okay, well, I'm done. I can go do this and my face is going to be on every news network in the nation. We need to stop doing that. And we need to talk about them like the pieces of shit that they are. It shouldn't be this guy with a rifle went into a school. No, this piece of shit went in and shot kids. Period. Don't say his name. Don't put a picture up. None of that. And I also think for these types of people, we should bring back public executions if they're alive after. There is nothing deterring these people from doing this, and it damn sure is not going to be gun laws. We need to stop this. Oh, we're going to put you on the news if you do this. No. No. It should be against the law to do that as a news company now, because that's what's glorifying it. That's it. There's no more to it. Take away that last hurrah for someone. Take that away, and then no one knows about it. It will just that will probably stop a lot of people. Sorry, guys, I've been ranting for a minute here. I'm going to answer some questions now. My God. I'm with you. For these types of crimes, and this is kind of why I talked about this last night a little bit. But instead of gun control, instead of gun laws, we need to create, if you use a gun in a criminal manner, not a bullshit gun law. That's not criminal. No. You use it to kill someone. If you use it not in self-defense, if you use it to rob someone like that, those punishments need to be drastically worse. Drastically worse. Like, I would be a fan of public humiliation. You go up and try to rob someone, you try to go grab an old lady's purse, put you in the middle of Times Square, we'll all throw beer cans at your face until you get knocked out. Then you can go back home, and then we'll see if you want to do that again. But don't put it on the news. Don't put your face on the news. None of that. Beto O'Rourke and Fat Boy Chief has ties together. Fat Boy Chief. Lard Boy Chief supports gun control. Then he follow up on the shooter having ties with local Norcos. No, I don't know about the shooter having ties. Honestly, I try to not even talk about the shooter. I mean, all I'll say is what he did was ridiculous. It's heinous. It's sickening. But I'm not going to say his name. I'm damn sure not going to put a picture up because he doesn't deserve that. He didn't deserve it. But yeah, I did see that Arredondo did put up. I think he did donated. I think it was to Act Blue or something like that to support Beto. I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous. Nothing deglorifies like a good public hanging. Yeah. I mean, it sounds crazy to some people, but there needs to be a deterrent. That's it. And it's not Sleepy Joe going for a bike ride, falling off, and then later saying that guns are super dangerous in good old American hands. Well, no, it looks like a bike is more dangerous to you. Two, I don't know how many times anyone can say this, but criminals clearly don't care about gun control. Criminals care about how they go out. Criminals care about being drama. They want to be divas. They want to know that when they go out, they got their face plastered on CNN with some I don't even know what kind of people they have on there. I mean, I'm sure they're talking about Gay Pride Month the whole month, but with some person on there glorifying him. Cops knew about possibility of school shooting in Uvalde back in 2018. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to look at that. Um, and that's the thing. I mean, and it kind of goes back into why are we talking about gun laws instead of things that actually are proven to work? Um, making sure that schools are hardened down, like truly hardened down. Um, scaring criminals, intimidating them into not doing something like this with a crime that is as heinous as the crime they're about to commit. Or with a punishment as heinous as the crime they're about to commit. It's how it's going to change. It's not going to change otherwise. All these criminals are laughing. They're like, "Oh, law-abiding citizens are about to get their guns taken from them, and we're still just kicking it with no regulation because we just don't care." Yeah. So, thank you. I am. Let me see exactly. Where's my phone? I lose my phone consistently because I try to stay off of it as much as I can. I think I'm about 2 hours away from Uvalde. I'm actually planning to go visit. Um, I want to, if any of the families will meet with me, I want to be able to bring them dinner one night. I remember as a kid, my whenever like one of our close family friends had like a death in the family, somebody died, we'd always bring them like lasagna or just dinner over to kind of help. Just because you really, when you're in that much grief, you really don't feel like doing much, especially cooking. So um, I'd like to be. I'd like to be able to do that, but yeah, I do. I do plan on going out there and visiting. So while I was at the gun store, he bought the guns from Investigated when they were involved in Fast and Furious. I don't really know why they would be investigated if they sold the firearm legally. I mean, I don't understand what investigation there would be there. Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, I think either one would work. Um, at the end of the day, those ballistic shields could have been maxi pads, and it still wouldn't have mattered. Get in there. That's it. All right, y'all. I'm gonna sign off. This was a good live. Appreciate all you being here. Getting these technical issues worked out, but glad all of you are here. And hopefully we can get some answers from these police officers and get Chief Arredondo. Really, just he can leave Texas for all I care, but he should be charged. So, anyways, y'all have a good night. See you soon. Stay safe.